Welcome to Friday the
Yes.
Portion. We are headed into our next portion. This is exciting. Brenda, happy Friday.
Happy Friday. It's almost
Happy Friday.
Shabbat.
I know. I want to say hello to
Woo!
everyone who's watching us. Of course, all of you on Zoom who are here with us. It is not too late if you're in watching us on Facebook Live, but you can also hop in with us over here on Zoom. And if you're listening to the replay, yay. Yay.
Hey,
Brenda, I have something to tell you that I have
what?
this. It's going to be new to you too.
Okay, tell
I
me.
started working yesterday on doing a legit podcast of our Fridays, like legit, like editing, adding music, publishing it as a legit podcast, as opposed to private. People can just hop in and jump in. So
Uh-huh.
I'm playing around with it. And of course, I'll let you approve all the stuff I put on there to make sure you like what I did. But I'm kind of excited. I was like, you know what? It came up on my thing. I like pulled up my garage band and it was fun. We have a lot of fun stuff going on. So we might as well just
We do. Why
put this
not?
podcasty. Why not?
Why not?
For those of you going to Women of Valor on the 6th, I want you guys to know who aren't going, guess what? You can still tune in live. You're going to have Misty and Chris. They're going to be filling in for us. They're going to be the power team. And then
Awesome.
Sydney's going to be your also your co-host. She'll be doing your tech stuff and introducing you. And so you're going to get to see our Sydney, who, I mean, she is my right-hand person. I'm telling you, I couldn't
She's
do this without her.
amazing.
She is. And if you are attending if you are attending the Women of Valor that weekend and you don't have a t-shirt yet, it might be too late to get one in time. I'm not sure. You'd have to check for what they say, but wear yellow. Would you do that? If you're not going to do that, just if you can't have a t-shirt, wear yellow or something so we can all, and I'd love for us to all sit together. Wouldn't that be fun if we kind of all sit together, like represent, and meet us over at our table. Brenda has graciously given us her table, her speaker's table. So we're going to be over there hanging out so you can say hi to us and make sure our hair is cute in case you want a picture.
Come take a picture. Come take pictures with us.
Yeah. Would you private message me too and say, hey, yes, I'll be there? Because I want to make sure I have enough goodies. I am making some fun little things to give you when you get there. So please make sure you let me know. Yeah. Book club is starting on Sunday evening. And for all the information, I won't go into it because some people listen to this later. Go over to the Facebook, go to your Facebook group portion, look under events. Or announcements, but under the events, you can see like the Zoom link is there, the book is there, the link to the book is there. I got a message from Lauren this morning, who's the author of the book. And I mean, I act like this is so, I know Lauren. Who calls you? Like, oh, she just reached out and she just loves you guys so much. She's like, I'm going to be there. She will not be there this Sunday. She's on vacation, but she will be popping in. And aside from the women in the book, if you've started reading ahead, that they have some pretty private stories, or their stories are very intimate, and their names might have been changed to protect the guilty. They won't be popping in, but she's going to be getting some of the other ladies who've shared their stories. And she was telling me who they were according to the alphabet, which was really fun. But she's going to be having them come in and also pop in and share their stories, meet you personally as well. So when you're reading this book, you're going to be like, oh my goodness, I met the lady who actually was the story this was about. I mean, like, this is like book club on crack, Brenda.
I mean, know, this is so great. I downloaded the Kindle version.
Did you?
So that I could have it.
Awesome.
And it's really good.
Right?
It's really good. What wonderful, wonderful stories, ladies. Just so good.
You know what I love about it, Brenda? I love in this book, it's Strength of a Woman by Lauren Cruz. And what I love about this book is not just that she's going through the Proverbs 31 woman and she's going through the alphabet, as the, not the acrostic, right?
It is.
The acrostic.
Uh-huh.
The acrostic of the alphabet. She's going through that whole process. It's not just that, but she's actually, she's speaking to women who are married,
yes,
women who are single, women who have gone through issues, women who are single out there making things happen, women who aren't. It's not just like, and I love how she's like, in the very beginning of the book, she says something like, if you read the Proverbs 31 before and you're like, I am not a rich woman with a bunch of slaves, so this does not apply to me, or servants, this does not apply to me. I don't even have a housekeeper. Are you kidding me? This is how she starts the book, and I love it. And then she goes into how each one of the letters of the alphabet actually how it builds up who we are in him.
Absolutely.
Brenda, that's what I
Mhm.
love. Like for those of you who have started Brenda's, or if you're in the middle of doing Brenda's course, the energy of the letters, it's exactly what Brenda's doing. She's taking this basic stuff that Lauren takes us to this beautiful basic level of life application. And then you'll go do Brenda's course and it's like sets these letters on fire. And you and I were talking about this, Brenda, and we were talking about the, people like, I don't want to learn Hebrew. I don't want to do this. You know what? I promise you, sister, if you were in junior high, let's all go back there for a minute. Take a minute.
Okay.
Oh, I was wearing my Ditto pants.
Oh
Remember
my
Dittos?
goodness. Oh
Let's
yes.
all go back there. Whatever you were wearing, just remember had Dittos and Vans shoes. Yep, they're still in style, the Vans. So exciting. And not. And I remember getting notes, not text messages, sisters that are young in here. We used to get notes that people would put in our written in our lockers or handed to us because they'd give them to your friend. If boy liked you, they wouldn't give it to you. They would give it to your friend, and then your friend would give it to you.
Yeah.
Do you like me? Yes or no? And you circle it and give it back, right?
Right.
But I promise you that if some boy liked me, I had a little boyfriend in there. I remember I had this little boy who in like 8th grade, I always thought I was going to just die.
And you say little because you were probably 3 feet taller than him, right? Because
yeah, no, he was actually tall. That was a good thing. He was actually the same height as me. Whew, I know it was good. But he, yeah, so funny. Gail and I had this conversation about her and I are both tall. So being taller for the tall girls, you couldn't wait till after 9th grade when the boys actually shot up and they were the same height as you. But he would send, if he sent me, he would send letters. And do you guys remember this? And they would put like the code across the top, and then it was written in code, or you did it with your girlfriends and you'd write each other letters. And she's shaking her head. Thank you for not making me feel really old. And so then what you did is you had to like decipher the code, right? You're like, oh, A, oh, this symbol is an A. And you went through and did that. And then you did all the B's.
Yeah.
Your king, your father has given you this beautiful love letter and it's written in code, right? And so I'm not like saying, ooh, I can't wait, I want to learn Hebrew. But I'm just saying there's this thing. And so as I start learning just the letters of the alphabet, just learning the letters, even if it's through a book like The Strength of a Woman, and then going into doing Brenda's course, and you're learning the energy and the heart of the Father. But all of a sudden I get who I am. Right, Brenda? I get who I am better than I ever have before. I get it.
Right.
I start to understand who I need to be. Like we're going to talk about the 10 words again today. Who he's proclaiming over me that I am, how I get to walk, who's Yeshua, and how is he my savior? How is he, how is he doing these things for me, and who my Father is.
Right.
Wow. And that's what I get to learn. No different than filling in those little deciphering codes. So if you learn one letter, we're going to do 3 chapters a week. We'll start this really basic, but you just know Aleph. And when you like look up Blue Letter Bible and you see some Alephs, or if maybe you have a Jewish Bible that's side by side and you can see where some of the letters are, you're like all excited. Or even when we talk about, when we're talking about something and we're like Aleph and Aleph, Pei, Lamed, and we say like the letters of a word, you're going to be like, oh, I know one of those. And you get all excited, right? Because you remember what that word is. Is anybody else? I need you. If you've gone through this experience, please don't leave me hanging. If you're watching live, if you're somewhere, please comment. Say, yes, that happens to me. So I just want you to get super excited about it. Oh, yes.
Yeah, you know, the letters, the neat thing about the letters is that they not only reveal the character and the heart and the energy of the Creator, they reveal how we are to take on his character and relate with one another. And they reveal how Yeshua is the ultimate, and how his character is what we are image bearers of. You know, we duplicate him, like he puts that character within us, and then that's what rises up and comes out, and that's how we relate to one another. So it's more than just letters and sounds. Like in English, it's sounds. Basically, it's a means to an end, but in Hebrew, it's part of the ongoing creation. it is part of, it's alive and living, it's breathing
Yes.
within us and around us and through us into one another. And it's really beautiful. So I'm very excited to, I can't wait to meet Lauren. I want to meet her.
This is exciting. It's fun. And if you guys see, she's been chatting on the group too. She jumped into our group. She's been in there. She's been chatting. This morning, she was telling me that she was so blessed. She was like so honored and blessed that so many women are actually wanting to read her book and they're wanting to like partake. I mean, she has workbooks. She has courses written on this. She's like, she has all the things, and she's ready to go for us. And she's, sending me like the leadership guides. There's leader guides on this. This is like a thing. And I thought, I was like, oh, we'll just have a little book club. No, well, there's tons of you coming. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Has anyone else had a hard time? We were just scared. Has anyone else had a hard week? I mean,
anyone at all? Anyone?
Millie's raising her hand. I can only see a few of you. Oh, help us, Father.
Oh, yeah.
It has been a week. Sarita, I see your hand. Brenda, I thought the 3 weeks, right? The straights, like we were. Yeah,
I know. I thought I thought I got out by the skin of my teeth.
I know we hit the 9th of Av and I was like, oh, not so bad.
I survived.
And I'm thinking Elul must be around the corner because this is what happened last year, Brenda.
I remember us saying that. Why are we doing anything of importance during this? I mean, really, this is where we need to hide. I mean, this is where we need to just stay in the house.
Yeah, Sydney says it has been a week, but she slept last night. Everyone, she's in here under the Ruta Cafe. She didn't hear us bragging about how I can't do this without you, Sydney. I love you. I'm just going to say, Brenda, I was sharing with Brenda some stories. I've pretty much blown my witness here at this workstation that I've been at. I'm leaving on Monday. Good thing, because if they were probably going to put me outside the camp, I'm sure when I walk by and everyone's all. So I'll just tell you this one story of my bad. You guys need to know you're not alone, and you need to pray for me. So I'm sitting here at my desk all by myself in my corner. I'm so happy. I'm kind of isolated. A little new guy and girl a man and a woman come up, and he's very thin, vegan man. I mean, healthy, very healthy. However, I am not thin. So when I'm here, I had like a tank top on and one of those little, I call them, they look like tennis skirts, but they come like to your knee, and they have shorts, but they're shorts, but they look like a skirt. Okay. So I had that on and I'm sitting there and I am still hot. So they come up to the air conditioner thing and they start messing with it, and there's a giant sign over it. It says, don't touch. I mean, and it's a funny sign so that it gets your attention. And I'm a rule follower. So first of all, the fact that they were touching it and it said don't touch was like pushing my buttons. Like, what are you guys doing? It says don't touch. You can't touch. Mom, she's touching the thing. I'm like, it's freaking me out. Like, I'm a rule follower. Like, that's what I love Torah, because it's like I like having the structure of some rules, right? And so finally I'm okay, don't say a thing. I'm using Simi. Will this help or will this hurt? Will this help? Will this hurt?
Will my words help heal or will they destroy and kill?
Finally, I was like, hi. It wasn't like, excuse me, what? Do you guys mind? No, this is me. Well, I sure hope you're not making it hotter in here. That's what happened. You would have thought I had time. I breathed. I went through the processes, and still out of my mouth comes, I sure hope you're not making it hotter in here, because I'm so hot I can hardly take it already.
And what did you say to him?
That's what I said.
Well, and you said, I don't have anything else.
I said, well, what I said is, they said, well, and I looked at them and he had like a raincoat on and stuff. And he looked at me and I said, well, I obviously can't take off any clothes. I'm as down as I'm getting. So maybe I'll need a sweater or something. You should, because I can't get naked. Like this is what's happening right here. There's where we're at with this. And they're like, well, we're freezing to death. And maybe you need to move over here. The desk's over here. And I'm like, well, maybe that won't work because I'm paying for this one. Bren, I fired myself.
Yeah. Did you? Yeah.
Yes. So as we're going through this week, I then have a couple, somehow it came out of my mouth to someone in here that Gracie wrote a book so that I could teach, because Gracie comes to work with me, so that I could help teach my granddaughters the Bible and stories in the Bible. And they would listen because of her. And a couple of the girls were like, oh my gosh, I want one. Oh my, that is so exciting. Not believers, not anything. And they want a Gracie book about the 10 words. So now this morning I come in, and of course, Air Conditioner Man is sitting right next to the lady I have to give this book to and tell them about the 10 words. How is my witness? Is it good? Not so great in front of Air Conditioner Man. He's sitting there side-eyeing me the whole time, and I'm having to talk to her about her identity in Christ, right? Sisters, talk about how he has to humble me.
Oh.
And the whole time he's going, see, if you just kept your mouth shut, this would be easy. But no, I'm making you do this because you're learning this lesson. If you have to learn it the hard way, you're getting it.
And segue, the perfect segue, Va'etchanan.
Everyone say that.
Va'etchanan. And we plead unto the grace of the Holy One. And here we go, right?
And we're off, ladies. We're going to be in Deuteronomy 3:23 through 7:11. And truly, one of the things, if you're just jumping in new with us, and if you're old, this is always worth repeating. You will always hear us talk about the 10 words. You will always hear us talk about what this means. One of the sad things about the translation that was given to us initially, or the ones a lot of us grew up with, is in an English Western perspective, it was brought through this, King James was a dictator. You read about him, not a great guy. And so didn't want God to seem, weak, this is my opinion, didn't want him to see weak. And he did. So what he did is he made this and he commanded this, and thou shalt not, and thou shalt not. Brenda, that's not how those were written, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they really were words. You know, it would be really great if we started looking at them as 10 words of empowerment. What do you think about that? Right? 10 words of empowerment.
Yes, they're 10 words of your identity.
They're the prophetic identity of who we are in him.
Yes. And you know what? This whole chapter really is prophetic. Not only it's prophetic, not only in who we are, but it's also prophetic. I mean, later we see Moshe, he will start prophesying about when there's going to be a time when you're not going to do all these things and you're going to be dispersed. But he loves you so much. He's still going to bring you back.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's even prophesied in this section.
Yeah. And that's grace. And Charlie, is that not grace? I mean, he's telling us right up front, look, guys, you're going to have air conditioning man experiences. You're going to get knocked out of the camp,
like last week, my Lowe's experience.
Yeah.
Or the coffee shop. I didn't even share that one. Yeah.
Don't overwhelm us. No, I'm kidding. And he's telling us this is going to happen. This is going to happen. And he's not saying it like it's going to happen to you. He's saying, guys, it's going to happen. And you just remember that when it does, I am going to turn you around. I'm going to bring you back. Shuv, remember that turn around, that return. He's going to bring us back into his grace. And the hard things and the choices that we make and the decisions that we make that make it really, really hard on us, he's going to use those things to turn us around and to bring us back. And it is his grace. And the word Va'etchanan, that word Hanan, that's the word for grace. It's the root of it is grace. And really, that's what this is all about. And when you just read this in English, I mean, when you just read it in English, it doesn't give you that, what is it, verse 23? I pleaded with Adonai. It says, I pleaded with Adonai. But in Hebrew, it's saying, I'm appealing to the grace, the Hanan, the Han. I'm appealing to the grace of the Most High. That's what he was doing. And that's what we need to do. He's showing us, this is how you do it. Remember our song? This is how you do it that way, right? Exactly. We want to appeal to the grace of the Holy One because he's already seen our tomorrows and he's already seen our, what we're going to do, how we're going to do it. He knows, and there she goes. He knows that. He knows that that's what we're doing. And yet he is
so shocked, not shocked,
not shocked at all. Right.
As a matter of fact, he probably orchestrated the whole thing. I'm pretty sure he made it colder in that section for Air Conditioned Man and of course the young girl I had spoken to before, who came up to me and she's like, brand new, hi, what you working on? And I was like, work. What kind of work? I'm like, a lot of it.
You didn't tell her I do hard things.
Well, I was just like headphones on, super focused in my little corner by myself.
Sister, you are a focused worker.
I was like don't bother me.
Yeah.
And then sweet young girl comes popping over to me. What you working on? And she's new. She just wanted to be friends. I had to go apologize. You guys, it's been rough. I'm just going to say it's been a rough week for me. I don't know. It doesn't feel like hormones, but maybe it is. I threw, you don't even want to know what kind of oils. I smell like an oil factory right now because I thought I can't do one more day like this.
Our dog's following you around. I don't know why
I'm so irritable. Yeah. So irritable. And I had to like apologize and then ended up I needed to connect her to my daughter. And it was like, of course I did. Wow, of course it was supposed to be a connection. And I just like, please forgive me. I had to ask people to forgive me all week long. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. Like, I just need to wear a shirt. Can you guys make me a shirt?
Yes.
Don't listen to her. Don't pay attention. We've already went through this so far. I mean, we're in the last book and we already know. Guess what? Yeah. He knows our eye rolls. He listens to the tone of our voice. Yeah. Everything. None of this is a surprise. So what is he going to do? He's like, I'm going to get rid of that in her. So I'm going to keep bringing it around until she finally goes, I don't have to do that anymore. Yeah. Hi, wow. And learns how to do it a nice way.
Hey, real quick before you you change subjects real fast. When you were sharing your story, you know what hit me, Charlie, was you remember, I don't know if it was last year or the year before. Remember when you just got laid out flat when you were reading the scripture about not working to the edge of your field, but leaving room at the edge of your field for others. And the Holy One was really speaking to you about not having your time so metered out that you had no room for him to be able to bring something in at the last minute. Because I mean, sister, you're a genius in
I'll stop. Yeah.
No, really. No, you really are a genius in time management. You really are. That is just one of the flows of your genius. And he was telling you that. And when that little girl came up to you, that's what hit me when you said, I'm like, oh man, that's the leaving the borders, leaving time, not just your wheat, not just your field, but your field, which means your time,
your provision, what makes you feel, what is bringing your provision. So what are you're doing? And I was like, I got to get this brochure done for the Women of Valor. We've got to have it on the table. Mm-hmm. Stop talking to me,
I'm trying to do God's work here, lady. Leave me alone.
Are you seriously? When she asked, what am I working on? And I was such a rude. How then am I going to say, oh, hi, I teach women the beautiful, beautiful Hebrew of the word. So guess what I had to do today in front of Air Conditioned Man? I had to talk to them about the beauty of the 10 words and how they were empowering them and sharing who they were in him. And they were like, oh, that's beautiful. Oh my gosh, I love this. And but in front of Air Conditioned Man.
Oh,
now,
thank you, Father.
And I just looked at him like, I'm sorry. I gave him the I'm sorry look. I didn't officially say I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to do that today. So,
of course.
I know. Oh. Anyway, I want to say that one of the things that hit me first in the beginning of this, you guys, is when Moses pleads, he's pleading to enter.
Yeah.
I kind of, for me, I feel like this is one of those things that it's been happening to a few of you. Mm-hmm. That you've been pleading for something. And this is the hard thing. Sometimes the answer is no.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because I feel like I've grown up in, and maybe you have too, in a very deep faith-based faith. If you believe it, you'll receive it, I'm not even going to go to like name it, claim it, but I mean, it was just like, he wants all good things for me, but sometimes the good thing is no.
Yeah.
Okay. What's even harder, guys, is sometimes the answer is yes for other people and no for you. I see a Pietra doing the eyes. I saw the eyes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes, have you seen your friends and you're like, but I asked for that. Why is there stuff going crazy and blessing, and why is there so much fruit happening in this, and why is all this going on for them? Why did they get this really great guy and I've been waiting 5 years, and why is this God, you know my heart. I've been praying and I've been doing all the right things. Why did and his answer to you is no, because I said so. And how do you then find a place of unity, of ahad with the Holy One, to where you're like, if even your no is that emunah life, right?
Yes,
It's the blessed life. Even when you say no, Father, I thank you for the no. Thank you right now that you're saying no. How do you say this right, Brenda? I want to say, even if you don't mean it. I don't mean that you don't mean it, but even if you don't feel it,
even if you don't feel it yet,
it's okay not to feel it. Because I don't like very strongly the fake it till you make it. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that. I don't think that's inauthentic. But you can authentically say, Father, my heart is grieved. I mean, let's read some Psalms, sister. Right. My heart is grieved. I feel like you're not hearing me. I'm noticing that my friend Susie Q is getting all the things, and she's got a new house, and I still live in this apartment. I work really, really hard. She hardly works, and she's getting double the proportion here. Or I wanted to go to that conference, and she gets to go, and how did she get to go and I don't get to go? Like that, God, like, okay. Father, thank you. This doesn't make sense to me, but thank you for the no. I trust you.
Amen.
It's okay to be real with him, right? I think David walks that out for us very well.
Yeah. So does
even
Moses.
Yeshua. Yeah. So does Yeshua.
Absolutely.
He says, Father, please let this cup pass from me, because he was flesh at that moment, right? His flesh was not thrilled about what he knew was going to happen. And then it was like, not my will, but yours.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's part of the way we approach him, right? We've already done this, the Korban Olah, right? We release our will. Father, it's not my will.
Yes.
And if you notice this happening to you a lot, there should be a ding ding. Like for me, this ding ding on my little attitude this week, all these opportunities for me to be a nice person didn't really pass the test very well. These little pop quizzes, he's going to send some stuff along that's going to start poking this. Why? Because you've asked him to change you, and you've asked him, and Moses is saying, he doesn't just ask, he pleads. And
I really love that. And we see the character of God in the midst of this plead, right, Charlie? Don't we see him? Moses pleads. How could God say no to him? He pleads. It's Moses.
And he says, don't stop it, and don't do it again. Stop asking me. Don't ask me again.
Yeah, that's right. Because because this is the thing. And I know it's not going to make sense to you right now, but you understand there's two things that are happening. Well, there's more, but two things that are happening here. Number one is there are consequences to behavior. And as a good parent, he will require us to walk out the consequences of our behavior. Thankfully, he always has grace in that. He always has grace within that, but it doesn't mean that we don't walk out the consequences to our behavior. And number two, he has a plan. Everything is going to work out for the betterment, not just of you. We've got to get out of that selfish mentality. It's not just about me, 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 me. It's about the kingdom. Sisters, he's teaching us right now. It's a smack in the face. This is not about us individually. This is about the kingdom. This is about preparing the bride, which is more than one, preparing the bride collectively, learning to walk in community collectively so that we are all getting ready for the groom to return. And we can't do it individually alone. where we are just me, 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 me. This is what I want. Please, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. And he's saying, don't say it again, because you don't have any idea what is going to happen, because you're not going into the land. Because Joshua needed to be the one to take them over. They had to look to their contemporary. They had to. It had to be him. It couldn't be Aaron. It had to be Aaron's son. It couldn't be Moses. It had to be Moses's helper, his mini-me. It had to be him.
Yeah.
And it's really teaching us, one of the millions of lessons is teaching us to please, we have to stop looking at everything about me, 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 me. And I know that that's harsh, but it's the truth.
Well, and it was the best place for it to happen. When was it going to happen? Before Jericho? Before he had to go, like he wasn't
right.
And I read someone quickly that, he was saving him from the hard things that Joshua had to endure. Truth, right?
At what? He's 120 years old.
Right. When is it a good time for you to die, Moses? I mean, like, now is a good time. I've said this is how long I'm going to give you. So you've done what you needed to do.
You finished your race, buddy. Come on.
The baggage that you have.
Yeah.
The mentality that you have can't go into this next level.
No.
So some of the stuff he's going to tell you, that maybe some things in you have to die. Some old ways.
Right.
You've been holding on too tight. The old Mose's. Moshi.
I like Moshi.
I like Dr. Robin calls him Moshi.
Moshi.
I love that. Okay, so then we go into verse 4, 4:4. This is one that I wrote out for myself because it said, I'm going to read what it says. It says, but you who held tight to Adonai your God are alive today. All of you.
Woo! Did you feel that blow into you?
For you who held tight to Adonai, you're going to go in. So what I heard was, this is the secret sauce. Here's the recipe. Shh, everybody listen. If you hold tight, you get to go in.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If you hold tight, the original is dabek, D-A-B-E-Q phonetically, but the root is dabak, is a way of clinging, just a deep clinging, so like you're being glued to something.
Yes.
And we're going to go into this, right? It's like a segue. We have to love the Lord your God with all your heart, your mind, your soul, your strength, your everything. You have to love him you have to be glued, dabak yourself to him.
Right.
That's how we enter into the promised land. Yeah. So what happens? I mean, Brenda, one of the things, when I very first met you, and we repeat this often, is even your ministry is panea panea, face to face. He wants us glued so close to him. And the reason then when we go into the 10 words, he's saying you're not someone who has other gods before you, because that would break the connection.
Yep.
That would break the glue. Yeah.
It would sever the breath exchange.
Yes. Right?
Wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's telling us this. He's telling us this is the secret sauce. I love how you said that. That needs to go in a book or even on a t-shirt. We're going to have so many t-shirts, secret sauce. He's telling us that this is the, I don't want to say, well, it's not the recipe, but this is the thing that happens. Why? Because he is who he is, and he is proving who he is. And then it goes in right underneath that. It goes right into, Charlie, what other nation is there that has God so near to them as Adonai our God is, whenever we call on him? Whenever we call on him. What great nation is there that has statutes and ordinances that are righteous, like all of this Torah that I am setting before you today? And then he says, be watchful, pay attention, listen, pay attention. Don't let these things slip from your heart all the days of your life. Make them known to your children. So he's saying, he's enveloping us with his love, and he is telling us who we are. He is empowering us to be his people, his nation, his ambassadors, his, Gail says, billboard signs. I love that, don't you, Charlie? How she
Love
said,
that.
it's like,
Yeah.
we're the billboard signs. We're the ones that are, we're the ambassadors. That's what Paul says. We're the ambassadors. We're the ones that are out there proclaiming the name of the Holy One. We're the ones saying, this is how great this God is. Whew. It's amazing, but it requires us to do what? We have to listen, hear, Shema. We have to let it come into us, and we don't fake it. We walk it out, and we allow it to come out of us for others. It's a real connection, isn't it, Charlie? Don't you see
Yeah.
that as we're going through Deuteronomy, that we're just being reminded, like every couple of verses, this is not about a solo. This is no solo journey here. This is a community journey. You
Absolutely.
are just like what Yeshua said. I want them to be one with you, Father, as you and I are one. I want to have them be one with me as you and I are one. It's the whole connection.
It's the same thing. It's I want to be glued and so tight with someone that you can't
Exactly. I
tell
love
when
that,
one
Tabak.
person starts and when some person ends
Yeah,
because you're so close together.
right,
So what happens is you eat the same way they eat. You
right.
walk it's a dance, right? It's this,
It's a
you
dance.
know, the dance moves and you're like, we're
Yeah,
turning right, we turn right, we turn left, we turn left.
yeah,
We honor this calendar. We honor these festivals, these things,
yeah.
better than a calendar, but the biblical
We follow,
festivals,
yeah,
and we
his
follow what
seasons,
he's
his
doing, his
times.
seasons,
Mhm.
his times. These
Yeah,
are the things that we follow. And we go
yeah,
right into in verse 6, he says, you must keep and do them.
yeah.
And then why we talked about this. We went through the hearing and we did last week. Go back, the Shema Shamar, right?
Mhm.
Asa, go back
Right.
and read about that.
Keep it, guard it,
Listen,
watch it.
why do we do all this? Because he says the people will hear about these and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people.
Yeah.
You guys, our observation of his commandments is a billboard. Our observation is so attractive to the outside world. I know I was thinking about that when I wrote that in my notes, that most of us would roll our eyes at that statement now,
Yeah.
because we think, how many of you are dealing with, you tell your family of what's going on, they think you're in a cult, or maybe they don't understand.
Right.
But I'm telling you one thing, look at, we'll give it just an example, and this isn't even Messianic or Judaism or anything. Look at Hobby Lobby. Look at Chick-fil-A, who says we are not going to be open on Sunday. Now, we are all Sabbath keepers, but I just have to use this as an example because I do believe God honors their business because of this. And that's my personal opinion. Send me an email, Charlie@TheRooted Cafe. Don't use a K when you send that one.
Send it CAFE.
Use CAFE. That way I don't get it. Just kidding. So here's the thing. I believe the world is attracted to them, even though they're like, I mean, I've been annoyed on Sundays and be like, really, why aren't you open? Why can't you be closed on Saturday so we can all be in alignment? The Samaritans didn't worship at the right place, and Yeshua still showed up at the well and had the longest conversation that we have recorded with a woman who wasn't even worshiping on the right mountain. So let's just stop it. Here's two companies who are doing this, and they're being honored for it, right? Our faith has gotten year by year more and more and more so watered down. Most people don't know the difference. They don't know a difference between us and our language, maybe what we watch on television. But more importantly, if you go somewhere and you're with people and you don't eat a certain thing, I promise you, it gathers their attention. And I was trying, Brenda, to think about how to express this. And my example is not going to be a very good one to you guys. I'm sorry, but this is my personal experience. Do you know what's attractive to me? It's attractive to me when I see, I spent some time last summer around quite a few Mennonites. It was so attractive to me, not that the way that they conducted their life, they were consistent. Didn't mean I believed what they believed. It didn't mean that I wanted to become Mennonite, but it was attractive to me that somebody actually did what they said and said what they did. when I'm around someone who is honoring things and I can see it in their life, you see the fruit in their life. You're watching their children, you're watching the way that it doesn't mean they're perfect. I'm not saying that at all, but it's attractive to me. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
It's just attractive. I'm telling you, our world needs to be attracted to something.
Yes.
That's why people are attracted to cults, because they want to be part of something and they want to all wear the same t-shirt and they want to be part of something that's consistent. We're made for this. So we're going to accept counterfeits. But when we rise up and we start walking things out and we don't get yelled at the air conditioner man trying to turn a thing down, when we actually can maybe the whole point is I need to go back and say, I'm sorry. So that was the connection God needs me to make.
That's the testimony he needs to hear.
That's the testimony he gets to see is like, oh, wow, people actually apologize and people just walk around being crazy people. But what we're watching Christianity get watered down. We're watching most services that you turn on television or watch on YouTube look like a motivational speak. Mm-hmm. We're watching that we're not being told like, hey, guys, we need to shake things up. You told your boss that you can't work on Saturdays. When you stand for something, yes, for a little while, people are like, oh, she doesn't eat. Or, you don't eat, you're not eating the shrimp cocktail and they don't understand why, you don't want the shrimp cocktail. And at first, everyone's going to be like, but when they need something and they need prayer and they need to know that they're going to say, oh, Jordan, I need to go to Jordan because Jordan will pray for me. Yep. Jordan will pray for me. I can trust Jordan because you know what? She doesn't eat shrimp. She's crazy. But you know what? That girl, she lives by what she says. And she's consistent. And maybe there's something to that. And guess what? They start asking questions. Is that right?
Marcia just said that in the chat. She said, but you'll be the first one that they come to when they are distressed or they need prayer. And that's the thing. It's not that we have to walk out perfection, guys. It's like Charlie's testimony it's funny, we're enjoying it and everything, but the best part of her testimony is that when she humbly goes to people and talks to them, then there is a dialogue that opens up, and then then the billboard has the lights blinking. Yeah, this is a God that I would serve. Someone who says what they say and they do it.
It's easy to do things when it's easy.
It is, and it's not easy to do.
But when it's hard, I mean, there's a few of you I've probably had to come to, and I've personally had to say how I'm sorry about something. It is easy to do it when it's easy. But when you really have a relationship with someone is when you can actually mess up and you get to come back and fix it.
Yeah.
That's what builds trust.
Right.
It builds trust when, Brenda, we learned this year.
Yesterday. Yesterday we had a conversation and I had to fall on my sword before Charlie. Literally. I was in the wrong and I had to admit it, and I had to apologize and not just say that I was sorry, but put into motion something so that does not happen again. And that's the thing is, how are we really walking it out? Are we just saying the words? Please don't fake it. Say the words, but in your heart, know that it's because you are purposing to make that change. That's what Shuv is all about. That's what returning is all about. It's not about being perfect. It's about changing your perspective and moving into the direction that's going to take you into something that's going to be life-giving. And I had some business things that were not life-giving. They were not life-giving. And I was having a hard time seeing it. I was having a hard time dealing with it. And when it was, seriously brought to my attention, I had to apologize. And it wasn't hard to apologize because it was Charlie and I love her and I know she loves me. But what was hard was coming to the realization that was my behavior. My goodness, that was hard for me to admit that, oh my gosh, when did I think it was okay to do that? That's not okay. And yeah, it is tough. It has been a really It's been a really tough week. It's been a really tough week.
It's been a tough week. And I was thinking about the times even early on in the year when you and I both, we've said something or written something and we had to come back and say, hey, I have to retract that. This was not, I think that you guys trust us more when we come back and say, hey, I messed up. This is this. And then you're like, oh, good. They're watching it and we could bring things to their attention. And I mean, someone recently, and please forgive me if you're listening, you can say that was me, please feel free, brought it to my attention that they don't make gummy bears out of horse hooves anymore, that they do choose. I mean, they'll use fish or bovine or pork, but if it doesn't specifically say bovine gelatin, then on anything, whether it's a marshmallow or anything, it doesn't specifically say bovine or beef, then more likely than not, it's made out of a combination of beef and pork or all pork. So you'll just want to be careful of that. But what happened? I come back and I do a big post and be like, hey, I was wrong. I hope that builds trust, that you guys feel like, oh, I can bring correction because I get stronger when you do that. I'm not offended. Not offended at all. Not offended. And someone said on here, isn't it actually like lying and you're not keeping an oath? Millie, yeah, we're going to get to that as we go into the 10 words, because there's other ways that we steal from people. Sometimes it's their time. Sometimes it's by not keeping an oath and we don't realize it. You know, there's things we do that we actually are stealing. So we'll get into that. Great. That's a really good point. You know what I love, Brenda? I love on here is that he does say around verse, I think it's in like verse 27 is where he starts prophesying. He prophesies that they will be scattered. They're going to be scattered amongst the nations, but he comes back and he says, he will not abandon and he will not forget his covenant.
Yep.
And that is just so beautiful to me that we see the prophecy right here, and that it brings hope not only for them coming as Yeshua comes to fulfill a covenant, to be the law of the husband. If you haven't read that book, the book Marriage and Remarriage, or Divorce and Remarriage in the Bible by Dr. Gold, I'm telling you, it is the best salvation story I've ever read in my life. The good news, who knew? It is the best I've ever, best. I think it's in our store. The link is in our store that takes you straight to her book. So it's like $5. It's super short. And I think you should buy them for everyone and give them to everyone, because if you want to know why Yeshua came to die and you don't understand the law of the husband and why he said it was finished and why this was the covenant, you will love it. It's beautiful. So beautiful, beautiful. Anyways, he provided even cities of refuge. Keeps on going. We have 2.5 tribes. They're going to stay on the other side. And some people have said, well, they disobedient. Was this? No, because look they're even provided cities of refuge. So they were still provided for those who do things that are not, doesn't say, we'll get into that. Doesn't say you can't, that killing is, kill. It doesn't say thou shalt not kill. It doesn't say that you can't kill people. Don't go kill people, but it's specifically for murder. Okay. So when things happened by accident, like you accidentally kill someone. I mean, that could happen to my husband this morning. I could have accidentally killed him by accident.
Thank God there was no forks in the bedroom.
Sister, I need a witness. How many? Sometimes you could accidentally kill your children because, you pushed them off the cliff and you didn't know the cliff was that high. Anyway, they made provision for that in the cities of refuge. So, you know what? We've all been there, right? When he said that when we go through Passover and we're going through the thing, we are taught that we are supposed to, and I want to get better at this, by the way. I'm feeling a call to be better, I'm reaching out to be discipled and then to be a disciple, to be able to disciple others, because I feel that's one of the things that's missing. And if you have a heart that you feel like I'd like to help disciple other women, would you reach out to me? Because I feel for myself personally, that's the thing missing and was missing in my life the most, is I didn't have someone who grabbed a hold of me and said, okay, I'm going to disciple you and walk you through things like, oh, it's Passover. This is what we do. Oh, it's this is what we do. We try to do that as best as we can in the Rooted Cafe. That's the heart. The heart is a virtual discipleship, and the way we can do this from far away, all over the world, to women, all of you all over the world. on here that we can do that. So for us to be able to effectively do that, one of the things we need is you to be honest and reach out and say, I don't know how to do this. That makes no sense to me, and not feel shame from that, so that we can help bring discipleship to that area. One of the things is during Passover, we are to say the things as if we were there.
Right.
Even if you're saying, well, I'm a Gentile, guess what? You're grafted in. It was all the nations. Guess what heaven's going to be? Every tribe, tongue, nation.
Right.
So it's no different than when you're standing and when it says, yes, we will. Yes, I will. I want you to realize there's nothing new under the sun. That means DNA. Your DNA somewhere, somehow was there. I just believe it. That's how we are to present it. So the same thing is happening here. The same thing's happening here as they're standing at the Jordan, right, Brenda? It's like, I want you to know these are your ancestors going across. I don't care if you've done 23andMe or Ancestry or whatever, and you're like, yep, not Jewish. You're here now. God's vibrating something in your DNA to tell you. He's vibrating your spirit. He's vibrating things inside of you to say, come on, grab the tzitzit of the Jew and say, let's go. You're holding on. So that means you have to hold on with all your might. And so we're talking to you right now, right? I think that's what I had to say on that. You know, when we agreed at Sinai, when he says, when we agreed at Sinai, I want you to feel like you're saying, yes, I was there. I agreed at Sinai. Even when we go through the Parsha, a lot of times we'll say it out loud and we'll all be like, yes, we agree. If you were in Halisa's class, she has you go through the whole little thing and you're singing the song and you're kind of singing the song and saying, yes, you agree. Do you agree, Brenda?
I do. I really do. And I love what you said there. That scripture is in here. And it says, and then when you seek him with all of your heart and with all of your soul, and he's talking about the return. And Charlie, it's just so true. It's like, that's where we've got to be. That's what we have, we have to get back to that. There's a plan. You guys, we need to step back and take a look at this. What's happening here in Deuteronomy? What's happening here? We're being set up, because we're supposed to be recounting this story as if it's happening to us, right? Thank you so much for saying that, Charlie. I love that. So we are standing at the edge of the Jordan, and we are deciding if we are going to cross over or not. I love that last week in the Parsha, the half tribe of Manasseh, the tribe of Gad, and the tribe of Reuben, they weren't going to cross over, and yet Moses talked to the Holy One about that, and said, well, if you guys will go first and go and prepare, be those spears, those spears that go out first. And if you'll do that and go out first, and then be part of your brothers taking hold of this land, then you can go back and stay there, and that will be your land. But you have to be part of the community. We can't do it without you. And whoever you are, we can't do this without you. We need you.
Yes.
You individually, you are valuable, you are important, and what you are doing for the kingdom is important to each and every one of us. It's beautiful. You're not left out. You have your things that you need to be doing in your life. You have those things that you need to be doing in your life. And when you fulfill that, it's valuable to the kingdom. So can I just say, if you're carpooling your kids, or if you are homeschooling your children, and you're thinking, I'm not in ministry, I'm not speaking here, I'm not doing that, I don't have a platform, I don't have an international business, I don't have blah, blah, blah. Do you realize that what you are speaking into your children right now is speaking life into their DNA for the generations to come? That you are fulfilling the call and purpose of God in your life in this moment? Yeah, it looks different than it's going to look when you're an empty nester. Yeah, it's going to look different then. But for right now, that's where you are. So for right now, with all your heart and with all your soul, do what's before you right now. And that is fulfilling the kingdom of God. That is spreading the good news. You are being exactly who you're supposed to be in this moment. And sometimes that might just mean cooking dinner for a bunch of people. Sometimes that might mean just having your house ready and just lighting those 2 candles and falling down exhausted. Sometimes that's going to mean rocking your baby to sleep crying and you falling asleep with that crying baby falling asleep because you're so exhausted. But that is kingdom work. You are part of this whole picture. Everybody has their own piece and their own part. And that's so valuable. And in the book of Deuteronomy, it's like all of the glue is coming together and we're all figuring out that we're all part of it. It's going to look different for each and every one of us, but we're all part of it. And no one is more valuable than another. No one.
I mean, we are going to end this this section with the Shema and how this is where, children, the first thing they have teach the children is the Shema, is first part, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one.
Let's say it.
What I want to say this first is because you heard when you said this, something happened when it says that when you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might. When you were saying that, what popped out to me was the word your, not your, but your, with all my heart. So my heart has my strength is different than your strength. My heart or my soul, my calling, my purpose, my gifts, my strengths, all those things, my things are different. So it's with mine. I'm not supposed to have to do it with what you can do. It's not with I don't have to do it with Brenda's but with my strength, with all my strength.
Yes.
With all because my strength some days is not very good. Some of you know, I mean, I was like I had a flare up this week and I was in bed for 3 days. My strength wasn't very high. I was 2-finger typing, trying to get things done and wasn't high. My strength was all I had to give. Like Brenda, you said, like you may fall, you may get your bread done and you collapse.
Right.
Or all your strength might be driving through the drive-through to grab something to throw on the table. That might be what your strength is. And so when we come back at the end, when we get back to this, I'd like to we'll get back and we're going to go through the Shema. But I just really, that hit me. It was not, again, we're saying this all the time, stay in your lane, but really,
yes, no, really, we need everyone to be in their lane.
And your soul and your strength. Yes, I need you to be driving in your lane. Stop hitting my car because then I can't stay in my lane, right? Or stay in your lane. And I was so happy that my mother did the things that she did, teaching me. Every person you can think of that's walking that you maybe listen to or look up to or teach, who was a teacher, they had a mom who was pouring things into them, teaching them things. Some of them had to do it all the hard way because they didn't. How much better would it have been if they had a mom? So your job is super, super important. Speaking of mom, we jump into this with honoring your father and your mother. The word is kabed. It's not normal path in our society now it has become normal for children to disdain and disrespect their parents, right? It's become normalized. It's normalized on television, on movies we see. You expect teenagers to have the eye rolls. Oh, they're just being a kid. Oh, we think it's cute and funny. I'm super guilty of this. We see it as a rite of passage. Oh, they're a teenager. You know how that is. It's not uncommon for us. Think about when you've been shopping out to overhear a child disrespecting their parents and not honoring their parents. It's not uncommon anymore.
Right.
Our children, my daughter shared something, and she shared my granddaughter, who is 3, the youngest one. Her mom said to her, Mom, or she went in there, wake her up, hugged her, was cuddling with her. She's not a great morning person. She doesn't wake up bright and shiny. She's more like her yaya. And she says, we call her Mad Dog Maya because you have to warm up to her. And so she is holding her and says, oh, Maya, I just love you so much. And she says, stop saying that. She's like, what do you mean? But I love you so much. And she's like, just stop telling me that. You told me yesterday. You said that yesterday. And she's like, but I love you every day. If you say it one more time, I'm going to take all the pictures off the walls. And she's like, you don't have any pictures on your wall. She was talking about right by her. She's like, you don't have a, Maya, that's ugly. You can't be like that. Don't. I was like, so funny. Like, and then my daughter's thought was, isn't it great that she feels so confident in how much she's loved that she can say that? I'm like, no, that is not great. No, it was funny. At first I was like, that is hysterical. My granddaughter is a mess. But then it made my heart hurt because I realized this is the time to start teaching her, sister, this is not how we behave, because honoring your parents is a discipline. And it's something as parents, we need to teach children. It is a discipline. It isn't funny.
Yeah.
I'm going to get hard. It is not funny anymore. We have for our children to be disrespectful. I mean, my mom she'd be like, I will slap that eye roll. If she saw me rolling my eyes, oh, I'm scared. I'm scared right now. My mom's gone. I'm scared even to think about eye rolling in front of her. Like she would snatch me bald headed and she would tell me like, I will make another one looks just like you. So go ahead. If we have to teach our children how to respect us,
right?
So then they have to understand that that's a segue for them to be able to understand and respect a father they can't see, right? Discipline. This is something that's super learned. Are we teaching our children discipline? And it is hard, guys. It is hard. This is the number one question that comes up, Brenda, when we get into this section. The number one question that comes up: what about my parents? They were abusive. They have done horrible things to me. Mm-hmm. I first want to say, I am so sorry that was your experience. I am so sorry. What I know is this: you are the woman for the job. For whatever reason, he's chosen you for this job. And I'm praying for healing for you. I'm praying that the Holy One brings healing and restoration for you so that it becomes a Romans 8:28 for you, that it is going to work for your good. You're going to bring healing to someone else, bringing healing to your family, bringing restoration and redemption. Does that mean you have to be friends with people who hurt you like that? Like if you have abuse has happened and some of it has been but beyond anything I can share on this show. It does not mean when nowhere in the word does it say to forgive and forget. We can remember, but we don't have to hold things accountable, right? Unless they need to be legally accountable for something and be in prison. But what we can do is we can forgive, meaning that we don't allow that anymore. We set them free and we set ourselves free.
Yes.
We honor them by not speaking ill of them. That's how you can honor them. Mm-hmm. Right, Bren? Is there, you have, I know we talk about this, you and I together a lot. So we get this a lot.
Yeah. It's really good. The word kavod is the root of that is a heaviness. It's think about it's the glory of God. It's that heaviness. It's that thing that's weighty. It's the thing that's hard. It's that thing that's really, really heavy and weighty. And we've talked about, it doesn't mean that we glorify or lie and fake it and say, oh, it was all wonder. No, it's not that at all. But like you said, what we do is we release them into the hands of the Holy One who is just. And we release that responsibility into his hands. And then we walk out whatever it is the steps are that we take.
Right. Sometimes the love looks like all you in respect. What it looks like is for you to smile and say, oh, they brought me into this world and gave me life.
Yeah.
And that might be the best thing you can say.
That may be the only thing.
It might be the only thing you can say is they gave me life.
Yeah.
I honor them because they gave me life. And then you move on and change the subject, but you don't just honor them by speaking ill. No.
Right.
Oh, here we go. What are we teaching our children in our homes? Are you talking about their father?
Right.
In front of them?
Are you seeding disrespect for your spouse to your children so that they will disrespect their spouses? Are you teaching disrespect to your children about your parents by speaking ill of your parents in front of your children
or
and telling them or your in-laws and telling them that it's okay because they're bad people. It's okay because they don't follow Torah. It's okay because, hold on a minute. Does it say that? If they don't follow Torah, you don't honor them? Doesn't say that. It doesn't say that. It's just like your husband. Your husband doesn't honor Torah, you still honor him. You're committed, you're married, you're in a covenant. You honor him, and your honoring of him is a covering over him. So don't remove that covering. Okay.
I mean, I have her listen. I mean, I have this conversation, and my daughter will make comments about her in her mother-in-law. Mm-hmm. And I'm quick, and we have to be quick to be like, stop. Okay, wait, stop. First of all, we have to honor her. Second of all, she brought, the kid's dad, gave him life. Third of all, your children can hear. So now we do not want to, I mean, you want to talk, we're going to hit murder.
That is murder. Speaking ill,
it's murder.
That is murder.
So not only is it disrespect, but that's not who you are.
It's not who you are.
That's not who you are. You're not someone that murders someone with your words. Yeshua tells us even having hate in our hearts is murder.
Yes.
It has nothing to do. We can kill in war, punishment for a crime, self-defense. That's the reason that we had these cities of refuge set up.
Right.
But character talking about someone behind their back is character assassination.
Yes, it is. It's murder.
It's murder.
Murder, that word murder actually means to tear apart. And that's done not just physically, but with your words. Tearing somebody apart is murder. So if you think that it's okay for you to just say something bad, it's not okay. That is seeds into every ear that hears and every situation. And if there's no other witness than the heaven and the earth, those are two witnesses. So don't even say it when you're alone. The heavens and the earth are our witnesses before God. So don't even speak it to the land. Seriously.
Yeah.
Take it to the Holy One.
The court of heaven tries the sins of our hearts. Yeah. So if you're even like we talk, going to adultery, if you're looking at someone the wrong way, if you're looking at, a man and you're like, oh, I wish he was my husband. And I want, not only you're coveting your friend's husband or someone else's husband. Yeah. I wish my husband did that. Like, I wish he would pray Proverbs 31 over me. And not now, if you do it and you're like, I just wish this would happen. Father, I'm praying that my husband would be, there's a difference.
Pray. Then pray. Then pray it to
there's
God.
There's a difference when your heart is like coveting and you want your husband to die and you want a new husband. You want that husband instead.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a difference. There's a huge difference. But it is pretty extreme, like to covet something, I've shared before when we went through when we went for the 10 words before, is I wasn't allowed to go to model homes for a long time because I was coveting going into the model homes. I wanted this, or my going to friends' homes who had beautiful things, and I would covet that because I was working in ministry and I wasn't at that point not allowed to have those things because it would be stupid. I wouldn't even have the time to take care of those things. I don't even know what my problem was.
Aren't you glad you didn't get that? Oh,
I'm so glad I didn't get that. That'd be so much to take care of and insure. Oh my goodness. But anyways, you guys, we don't want to like make you feel bad, but I just want you to realize when you're like, oh, I don't do that. I don't murder. Really? Oh, I'm respectful. Are you? And other people's parents, when you hear them, stop, don't listen. Don't be a witness by listening to stuff that they're saying either. Yeah, we talk about stealing. We need to work. And some of us, you might be stealing because you actually can work and you're not. And I'm sorry, guys. There was quite a few people who were on unemployment for a long time from COVID unemployment that took advantage of that. And they physically could work and could get a job. Like it's a whole difference. If you can't get a job, I'm not saying any of those things are bad. I'm just saying, take this to the Lord before you start getting like, I don't do that. I want you to think about it. Really, Father, show me the areas that I'm not in alignment with the words you've proclaimed over me, because I want to stand under each word and be in alignment with it. So do I talk about someone? Do I talk about my in-laws? Do I cause character assassination? Me. Am I doing that? Is he put people in leadership over me that are like a father and a mother that I'm not respecting and honoring, and I'm gaping about? He'll tell you. He tells me I I'm telling you what, he tells me, but you know why? Because I ask all the time. Show me. And then I have air conditioning incidences and Lowe's incidences. Those things happen. Yeah. Ephesians 4:28. We're even told we're not work and not steal, so that you have something to give someone in need. I love that when I read that today. The reason we work is so that we can have things to give to people who are in need. Sometimes you might be stealing by stealing people's time. You didn't go to the throne before you went to the phone, and now you just sucked 2 hours or an hour out of your friend's life. You just stole that time they can never get back, griping about something. But go take the pen back you took. I don't know.
I have to take a fork back, guys. We went out to dinner. I took my son out to dinner. I'm telling you, this is how bad it is. Went out to dinner with my son before he left to go back to Minnesota. And he left and he was gone and his leftovers were in the refrigerator. So I pulled out the leftovers, and my son has been doing this his whole life. And I opened up, Charlie, it was John. So you know exactly. I open it up and the fork is in there. He loves to steal forks. I'm like, oh, Father God, I have to take this back to the Mexican restaurant. He stole the fork. Yeah, because you know what?
Little things.
It seems like a little thing, but do you
Little
know
foxes.
that we have been business owners? And do you know that if one person's still in a fork here and one person's still in a fork there, all of a sudden you're out of business?
Because you got all the forks are constantly replacing. You know, I wrote down this, Brenda, there's things that we don't think about stealing. And this came to me and I wrote it down. Stealing a moment. And I'm going to tell you, I have been very guilty of this.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, what does that mean, Father? Stealing a moment.
Yeah.
And he showed, and I wrote down right after he showed me, when your story's bigger than theirs.
Ooh.
That's not who you are. You let people have their moments. Don't steal their moments by having to outshine them. Let them have their moments. Don't be jealous and covet them. Let them have their moments. If they're doing something, let them have their moments.
Yeah.
You are not a person who does that. You're not a person who doesn't return things that you borrow. And when you return it, you bring it back better than you got it. Full of gas, spit shined and pretty, smelling good, whatever it is, dry cleaned.
Ironed.
You ironed, whatever you need to do, but you return it to your best ability with your strength, your might, your provision, whatever you have. You return things that you borrow. Okay, this one's going to lying. You know, but Brenda, it doesn't say thou shalt not lie. And I think I have to change my Gracie story, my Gracie thing book, because today this really came to me. I went through reading a lot about this one, and you know what? This is just about perjury. Lying, we aren't supposed to lie, but it isn't one of the words. Lying is missing the mark. It is a sin. It's missing the mark. It's getting off the path. It's not bringing life.
Right.
But you know what? This is about being a false witness, because especially lying is perjury, dealing with being a false witness. Proverbs is full of verses about being a false witness, because this is their lives were in the balance.
It's huge. It's huge.
The lives are in the balance.
Right.
And Brenda, can you think of any ways we do this? Because we don't have like the Sanhedrin. We're not going before the courts, and I'm not having to pull you along, and you're going, and I'm saying, hey, just tell them you saw it too. So, tell them you saw it too. So we have two witnesses. Like that was the big deal. How do we perjure now?
Oh, gee. How do we perjure now? Exaggerations. Because what we do with exaggerations, when we elaborate what the truth is, we are changing that person's, the dynamic of whatever it was that person had. And maybe they spilled the little piece, maybe they did one little tiny thing, and what we elaborate is we make this into another story, and all of a sudden then their reputation is destroyed. Then it's you guys, it is serious. Linda Millett was just saying that she's been listening to Proverbs at night before she goes to bed, and this is it. It will remind you over and over and over and over to not bear false witness. Don't say something is true that it's not. Don't change the story. Don't negate what happened and move it so that you look good, so that you're the hero, so that, I mean, really, we could just go on and on and on and on.
I mean, I've heard people tell stories, and I know that happened to someone else.
Yeah.
It's not their story.
Yeah.
But they're and I think they believe it, that it's their story. They've told the story so many times, they start to believe that it was their story. And I'm like, that's interesting, because I know that happened to so-and-so, and I know that did not happen to you. But they've taken that on. It's very interesting. So read the Proverbs,
right.
Pray about what this false witness, pray, Father, am I perjuring someone else's story? Am I perjuring other people's in the way I live? He'll show you, I promise. We talked about coveting already.
Yeah, he will show you, I promise.
You know what coveting for me, coveting is all about greed. It leads to greed and idolatry. Colossians says that. Colossians 3:5 says that it leads to that it leads to greed, and that greed is idolatry, right?
Well, anything telling God that he didn't give you what you needed, that's you're coming before the Holy One and saying that he didn't give you what you deserve. Sister, let's hope he didn't give you what you deserve.
Yeah, I don't want to ever get what I deserve.
Right.
And I say that all the time. Please don't get me what I deserve. And people go, oh, you deserve. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Coveting caused the first murder.
Yeah, it sure did.
It caused the issues between Esau and Jacob.
Yeah.
It caused the brothers of Joseph to,
yeah.
I mean, if you look at the root of like what coveting is, wanting what someone else has, right?
Right. And not being satisfied with what you have. So your eyes are looking on someone else's, saying that's better. That's what I should have. It's not looking at yourself saying, God, you are so sufficient and you have given me everything that I have need of. It's all about the sovereignty of God. If you say that,
and I bet you, if you're like, oh, I just wish I had that, maybe you're coveting someone else's house. Yeah. And sister, I want you to get in your house, clean it up, make it spit shine it, because you're probably not taking care of the one he gave you. So why would he give you a bigger one? You really, like, most of the time, the reason he doesn't give us something nicer is because we're not taking care of the thing he gave us. Look at your children. We don't get these characteristics from the air. The reason we don't give our children the next best thing is because they're not taking till they learn to take care of the one they have. Right. So can I just say, you want a brand new car? You want a better car? Then shine the one you have up. Go in there and vacuum it and just make it. I mean, you treat it like it's a new car. You start thanking God for the next one because you want to make it nice to give that one to someone else. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you, like you said, I mean, John 3:27 tells us man receives nothing unless it's from heaven. So you're being a steward now. Are you a good, did he give you 1, 2, 3 talents? Did you dig it in the dirt? And does it look like it's been in the dirt? Yeah. Does it look like you left it in the dirt? Because you're not keeping it up. You're not taking care of the things he's given you.
Yeah.
Are your clothes wadded in a ball? Why would he give you a bunch of new clothes? You don't take care of the ones you have.
Right.
Oh my gosh, this is happening.
I know, this is real.
This
is
real life, guys.
This is practical Torah.
Are you letting a bunch of food waste? Because you're like, oh, I had to throw all this food away because it wasted, because you're not. I mean, look, ask him to show you. How are you not? How can you do know better and do better?
Right. Yeah. And all of this is because his desire is for us to live an abundant life. Yes. An abundant life. And that is going to look different for each one of us. There are the most beautiful stories of especially of rabbis who were so poor they didn't ever act as if they were poor. And there's one story, I can't remember all of it, but anyway, the gentleman comes to the house and says, is talking to the rabbi, and he says, well, don't something about, don't you need more or something? He goes, well, if I ever run into anybody that needs something, I'll be able to do that. But I don't know. I have everything that I need. And he had a chair and a table, no bed, a chair and a table. But he was his heart was so much for thanking God and being grateful and having gratitude for what he did have. He was so grateful for what he did have. And that's really where we need to go.
Yes, gratitude will change your
Gratitude will
life.
change your life. It will change everything about the way that your brain processes
Yes, you can
your
process. If you
circumstances.
have much, you will be content and happy with much. If
Yeah.
you have little, it won't
Mhm.
matter what you have.
Yeah.
Because that's what I mean,
Yeah.
because you're so grateful. I have, I mean, literally, if I look at what I have materialistically, less than I've ever had in my whole life, probably. Like, I mean, that's a quick comment, but, and I live in 400 square feet in a fifth wheel. I love my life. I love all the things that I have. I love them. I'm so content. I like sit there and be like, oh, I just love my little thing. I love it. So happy. We were looking at houses the other day, just contemplating buying one. And I was like, oh, that's too big. Oh, that's too big. That's too big. I don't, oh,
That's 700 square feet. What am I going to do with all that extra
with
room?
all the extra room. I mean, and if you guys, I mean, if you're living in this big, beautiful house, how exciting for you. I want
Absolutely.
you to love
100%.
it. I
Love
want you to
it.
be so grateful for it. And if it's not bringing you joy, sell it and go get something that brings you joy. Go get a smaller one. Or if you need a bigger house, go get one. What be grateful in all things.
Yeah.
Be
That's
grateful.
the thing. And that's going to take care of the whole coveting thing too, is what is on our Tuesday Talks in the cafe, our Tuesday Talks right now for the next month or so, we're going to really be focusing in on gratitude. And gratitude and grace was last week, and gratitude and joy is coming up, but really just focusing on gratitude because it changes the dynamic of your day when you truly embrace gratitude. Because what it's saying is just like what Moshe was telling us here, with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, you're turning your thoughts to the Holy One and saying, thank you, Father. Where else am I going to go? You're the only one with the words of life, right? You're the only one. You're the
Yeah.
one. You
Yeah.
are life abundant. And so it's taking our eyes off of other things, and that takes care of the covetousness. That takes care of the bearing false witness. That takes care of the not honoring your parents, because your eyes are off of the circumstances and the poking and the prodding and the judging, and your eyes are back on him, and you're saying, thank you. Thank you for what you have given me. This is enough.
Yeah.
You will meet my every need because you are the great king. You are the creator of the universe and everything is yours, everything. And anything that I have is because you've given it to me. So if
Mhm.
I have a need, you're going to meet it because that's who
Yes.
you are,
Amen.
right? Changes everything.
Amen. Amen. And we end out with, we're in Deuteronomy 6:4 and we do the Shema. And when he's telling us, when you're loving him, we love him with everything, with all our strength,
Everything.
with everything. Do you? Because I ask
Yeah.
myself that all the time.
Yeah.
Do you? Because when I first met my husband and we were dating, and during that dating season when you're just, and then you fall in love and then you're like gaga, right? I loved him with all my strength,
You did.
all my might. I mean,
You drove 6 hours to bring him lunch.
seriously,
I remember.
and back. Yeah, because I couldn't be 1 second without him.
Yeah.
Y'all remember, think about it. We know what we can do, women. We know when
Yeah.
we are, and I had written 1 John 5:3 down, for this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments and that they are not burdensome to us. They're not a burden. Driving 6 hours to bring my husband lunch was not burdensome to me. I was thrilled, just like obeying his word, obeying his things. He doesn't need us to love him. He wants us to love him because he loves us so much. He loves us so much. He wants us to obey we obey out of that love, right?
Right.
Like there's things that my husband likes for me to do and I obey that. And that's a word that maybe is difficult for people. I will honor that and walk that out with him because I love him so much. Sometimes I don't like it, but I love him. And so I'm going to do this, and it's not begrudgingly. And
Right.
when
The
you're,
benefits are amazing. The benefits of doing that are amazing. And that's what obedience is all about. It's the benefits of it are amazing.
yeah,
We don't even remember, do we, Charlie? We don't even think about that.
No, what a life we live to live.
When we walk out his commandments, we are avoiding all kinds of horrible situations. There's benefits to it.
So good. It is so good. There's so many great comments here. Lori Dawn says, every time I clean dirty fingerprints off the walls, I've started thanking Yah for our home, and then look forward to when Habitat will seed the yard and we will have grass. It is so effective.
Amen.
Sandy, you said it's perspective.
It is. That's good.
Love him. And if you don't know how, because some of us have, I'm going to talk to that girl who's like, okay, I hear you saying that, but I don't know how to love him that much. It's someone I can't see, someone I can't feel, someone I can't touch. How do you love someone like that? That's a really great question. Ask him how to love him like that. Get into his word and be like, I'm reading your word and I don't see how this is making me love you. But as you start reading it and as you reach out to us, ask those hard questions. Like, you know what? I hear you say that. We're like, oh, okay, that's nice. And we all leave. And you're like, I don't feel any of those things. Mm-hmm. I don't feel that love. I want to, but because I've been there when I've been around a bunch of people talking about how much they love God. And I'm like, well, I'm kind of afraid not to say I don't love him, but do I? Because I don't really know. It's okay if that's you, because we can walk that through with you. Mm-hmm. You know, how do you get to know someone? Talk to them. Right. That's all prayer is, just talking. Yeah. Tell him, Father, I want to love you. That was what I did, because I was too embarrassed to tell anyone that I didn't feel like I felt like what other people were talking about. So I started out talking to him. I don't know how to love you like this. Mm-hmm. I want to love you like that. I don't know how. Mm-hmm. Father, I'm committed to this. I know that you're my God, but I want to feel that feeling because I'm a girl and I like to feel in love. So can you show me what my part in that is? And I promise you, he will. I promise you. Can you imagine your kids coming to you and saying, I just want to feel some more love from you. Can you show me how? And you're going to go, no, get away from me. I'm busy. No, you're not going to say that. I mean, you would stop. Of course, he hears you. It's okay not to know. It's okay not to know.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not just a feeling. It's not just a feeling. We want the feelings, of course, but it's the action that we put our feet to and the feelings will come.
Yes.
So, and that's with everything in life, right, Charlie? I mean, you're a coach and that's how
I don't feel people with that for my husband every day. Let's just be honest. No. This is the most intimate relationship in my life. My daughter, I don't feel like I love her, and I see some wrote, love is a choice, but I choose every day to love him, because love isn't about my flesh being satisfied and happy and jumping up and down. Love is me saying, I love you in spite of my feelings in the things, like, you know, because I've made this commitment, I have a covenant with you. Yeah. We see movies, we've watched Hallmark movies, so we all think we are supposed to have the feelings, but it is okay to ask for those feelings. I want to just, you know, so there's a balance here, right?
Yeah, there is.
But I did want to say, I did see people going, oh, I love him, and they're crying and they're all excited. Oh, it's so beautiful. This, and I'm like, I don't feel that way. Am I just a mean person? Like, why? God. And you have seasons. You're going to have seasons that he's going to take you through when you are obedient, when you walk in his word, when you have those conversations with him, when you lean into this relationship that you have a covenant with, just like with your husband, when you spend more time with him, when you start doing things together, what's the first thing they tell you? Have a date night. You know, there's things that what you do to restore intimacy, to restore the feelings. It's a process. I just don't want you to feel embarrassed to ask those kind of questions, because you're not alone if you've ever thought that.
Oh, I love that. You know, Jordan was saying that same thing, Charlie, that sometimes when people have a hard relationship with their earthly fathers, it's really hard for them to have a loving relationship with Abba. And that is true. And especially, and I'm not saying that that's what happened here. I'm just saying in a general way, especially if there's abuse in the home, it's like it is, all of that is designed to destroy the relationship the covenant relationship. And the Holy One is in the process of repairing that, because it says that he will go into the generations and bring restoration and bring repair. And so if that is in your life, if that's something that you're dealing with in your life, know that he is after repairing that breach, because he wants us to understand and know true love. Not the false love, but true love. And he wants us to have that ability to turn to him as our Father. So it's a retraining, and there's a whole lot going on there. I'm not the counselor. I'm just saying that, of course, you're going to have difficulty. We will have difficulty being able to understand, but that's what the Torah does, is it repairs the breach. It teaches us, when we walk it out, it teaches us how to do that. And we are not abandoned. We are not forgotten. We are not orphaned.
No,
He's saying that he is our Father, and he will teach us how to walk that out.
Amen.
And that's what being in community is so beautiful about.
It is such so much balance. Mary Catherine said something really good. She said she'd reached out to Halisa, and we have to be careful about sensationalism in our relationships and our walk with God. 100%. Because I grew up in church where it was all about sensationalism. It was all about having the goosebumps she mentioned on here, and people crying. And if they didn't get the breakthrough in crying and they weren't doing all those things, then they didn't touch the throne. I'm going to tell you, there are times when I know that I have touched the throne and there was no goosebumps. There was no those things that happened. So yes, be very careful. We are walking a line here. We are women, though, so sometimes we do like to feel like a touch from the Father. We do want to feel like we've been in his presence, and you are changed. If you're in his presence, you will feel something. If you've truly reached into the, but sometimes he's going to just be, look at David. He's going to say, where are you? I'm trying to get, he was like trying to push in, trying to press in. And sometimes I think God steps back a minute to make us chase him.
Yeah.
To come after
100%.
him, because he knows us well enough. If he made it so easy, we would just be loosey-goosey and not, I'm here, I'm not here. Good stuff. We got to go. Love you guys. Great talk. Good talk.
I hope you can recover.
Hope you can recover from this. Let's
love you
in
all.
a nutshell. The 10 words are to tell you who you are.
Yes.
Not commanding you not to do
relationship.
Things.
Yes.
If you ask him, Father, where do I need to align better with these words? Where am I missing the mark?
Right.
Where am I, I promise he will let you know. And usually he'll let you know by giving you a scenario, like my air conditioner scenario. He will give you a scenario to show you, you're kind of missing it right here. Your little attitude is not so great. He'll show you where you need to be more like him if you ask. And so be careful what you ask for, because he will answer your prayers.
Yes, he will.
Especially if you're saying you want to be like him, right? You can ask him, though, hard things. You can ask him that you don't understand something. You can ask him, you're not being, it's okay to be real.
Yes.
And
be vulnerable,
and not
be real,
understand something.
Yes.
Those things are all good. And the bottom line of all of it is he just wants to bring restoration. He wants you to, he loves you so much that he wants to bring healing and restoration into your life. That's
Amen.
it.
Amen. He does.
Y'all
and you know what? When we finish up with this Torah portion, talks about idolatry. Of course, that is anything that's taking you outside of the realm of who God is. That's idolatry. And that means selfishness. That means, all of those things are taking you out of that realm. That's idolatry. So just know that it's more than worshiping a statue. That's not what he's talking about.
Right. I mean, we're late, but I mean, we have heard, there have been some congregation who are pretty teetotal. I mean, they're saying kids can't even have like stuffed animals. I'm just going to ask you to pray about that. I don't align with that. I think it's about worshiping something. It's not a play toy. I think it's, it's more about setting something up as an image that is something you worship. But I'm going to say I honor, if that's a choice you're making in your home, I honor and respect that. And if you have felt like that was a download from the Holy One to your family,
then walk it out.
Walk it out, because I think some things, again, sometimes he says yes to some people, no. But I mean, we read in the Brit Hadashah, the New Testament, some things are permissible for you that aren't permissible for me. So maybe my kids can have stuffed animals and yours can't. I mean, that's just could be what it is. But if you're doing it because a man told you and a religion told you, please take it to the Holy One.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all I'll ask.
Idolatry is just is worshiping something other than who God says he is.
Yeah, something that comes between the two of you. Now, if you have a stuffed animal that you can't see, it's like, oh, it's coming between you and you can't pray because you are talking to this instead, then that might be an idol. I mean, there's been things in my life. I've had people in my life that were idols, like things that were taking things. It's a lot. We'll talk about idolatry. We're going to have to like add.
Let's go. We'll do that on the
next week, guys. Idolatry next week.
Oh yeah. Sounds good. Love you.
Love you, love you, love you, love you guys.
Love you guys. Stay for the after party.
Yes, stay for the after party.